So thanks everybody for coming to our classic conversation for October. We know everybody's getting busy and ramping up, so anytime we can catch a call together, it's super fantastic. We thought we would take a look at all of those the current trends, you know, the opportunities that are flying at you fast and furious, right? You don't always see them coming. And so we thought we'd take a minute and pause and kind of take a temperature of what we're seeing, what y'all are seeing, most importantly, what's coming across your desk. Hey, Tim Patterson, thanks for joining us. We needed your control board skills here a couple of minutes ago. You'll have to watch the video to get the details. But so I think actually Mel shared some really interesting trends that came from our project management team. And so I thought maybe we would get started with, and Mel's our special visitor today, so welcome, Mel. But I thought we would let him get started with maybe sharing some of those pieces of information as kind of maybe conversation starters, maybe something resonates with you and you can share that with the group. But yeah, Mel, take it away.
Right. Thanks, Jen. Hey, everybody. So what I did is, well, let me give you a little bit of background. So whenever you send a request into projects at Classic Exhibits, it gets recorded into an Excel database. And we've been doing that for years. And Edie's a person who generally records those requests. And every single month, I look through those requests just to get a sense of what the trends, what we're seeing, what's happening within projects, within customer service, so that it kind of gives me a guide as far as what we should promote as a company. And it just kind of tells me what's going on across the country. So what I did is I sat down with Edie earlier this week and we kind of went through the last 3 months and I picked her brain to ask her, you know, what she felt she was seeing based on that, not just what I was seeing. And she shared really a lot of really good information to me. And I wanted to kind of pass that information on so you can get a kind of a collective, a big picture view of what we're seeing from Classic Exhibits. Now, a little qualifier. So what this log contains is the requests that go to projects. So it doesn't capture any of the emails or the requests that you send directly to a project manager or that you send to design, they have their own log, or to the rentals, they have their own log. So this is just going to projects at Classic Exhibits. All right. So I'm going to show you kind of mostly August, September, and just a little bit of a glimpse into October, both some numbers and also some kind of general things that we're seeing. So for August, we had approximately 420 requests, and those could be orders, those could be quotes, those could be informational. So 420 requests that were logged into that particular database. And I'm going to give you an idea of how that compares, just so you know. So in August, it was 420, and in July, it was 443. So we had more in July, it's a little bit more in July than we did in August, which makes sense because that's when things were ramping up for you. And because they were ramping up for you, they started ramping up for us. 390 in June, and then 208 in May, 171 in April, and 131 in March. So 131, 171, 208, 390, 443, and then 420. In August, what we saw is a lot of really large projects, a lot of islands, a lot of inlines that were more kind of custom inlines, in addition to the accessory orders. But we saw orders where, in general, budget wasn't an issue in August. So big picture stuff, islands, custom builds, all of those things. We also saw quite a few kind of counters, charging stations, iPad stands, and sanitizer solutions at the same time. And one of the things that it was consistent, whether it was an inline or an island, was lighting, specialty lighting, whether it was light boxes, perimeter lighting, RGB, almost everything that was a build that wasn't just a portable had some kind of specialty lighting within it. And that's a trend that we're seeing across the board. And I know Jim will talk about it and James will talk about it also in rentals. Then the last thing was Symphony, the Symphony portable product line. It's as if we kind of turned a faucet on, or you turned that faucet on, and suddenly we were just kind of swamped with Symphony portable orders beginning in kind of late July and then in August, and it's just kind of continued since then. And what's interesting about that, at least from our vantage, is we introduced Symphony, what, a year ago? We were going to show it at Exhibitor 2020. Obviously, the show didn't happen, so we couldn't really show it. But once people became interested, then it ramped right up immediately. And our feeling is, given the number of orders that we've already seen, is Symphony is going to be the most successful product launch we've ever had. All right. So let's look at September. September is, we all felt, the country, we all kind of got a little overwhelmed by COVID again. And we had 310 requests. So it dropped off from the 400, the higher 300s we'd seen the previous 3 months. Suddenly it was 310 requests. Very few non-trade show orders, and fewer islands, more inlines, more accessories within the month of September. A surge of iPad stand orders within that as well. And it was kind of a mix between orders and quotes of those 310. Now, October. In October is that same anxiety. We're seeing fewer show cancellations, and that anxiety that we felt in September is not, at least we're seeing, it's not carrying over into October. And the messaging that we've given you and you've given your clients is, you know, there's supply issues out there. And if you want to go to a show, or if you're planning to go into a show early next year or in December, you need to order now. And we're starting to see that. We're starting to see people have that kind of less worry about anxiety, more worry about simply ordering and getting their booth in time for the show as it starts in 2020. So a lot of the August quotes that we got are now turning into orders in October. So through Monday, we were averaging about 15 requests per day, but actually for the month, but that's a little bit skewed because over the last few days, that has now jumped up to like 25 requests per day. So as the month is going on, the number of orders that we're getting every single day or request is starting to rise significantly. All right. I think that's everything, Jen, as far
Yeah,
as, I hope that gave you guys kind of a big picture of what we're seeing as far as the number of requests and the types of things that we're seeing.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that landed for this group, because if they're seeing similar things within their own worlds, or if you know, with a similar shift kind of back and forth between custom and portables. You know, just curious what mix you're seeing, Derek, because you got the cheer. You know, I'm going to ask on you.
We're actually seeing the opposite trend right now. Our existing client base is back into panic mode because of corporate decisions over vaccinated versus unvaccinated and employee restrictive travel due to it. So some of our clientele is back into what I would call early 21. Like, we don't know what we're doing. We don't know who's going, if we're going to have the staff to go. We don't know if we're going to pull out. We don't know if we're going to go. And the requests we're actually getting are custom one-offs, but they wanted them yesterday. So, you know, a lot of it, last week I had 3 phone calls that they just didn't have the time to do it. And the people we're now dealing with aren't even the new people from 2019. They're completely new people again. A lot of people fresh out of college who just got lopped into events and marketing and don't understand why the double-click Amazon Buy It Now button isn't available for a custom widget of some sort. And I don't understand why it's not $12. So from my clientele, we're actually seeing more of a hesitation is what I would call it. It's being driven by this. The new staff doesn't understand how long this stuff actually takes. And then with the supply chain issues, and I mean, everybody knows that if you want to guarantee your freight, you almost have to rent the whole truck, because it could get halfway across the country and then sit until the next truck's going your way. They're still very positive though. And we came through a really decent summer compared to what we're all dealing with. I mean, we did a show, we did the new booth through Classic that we debuted part of it in Nashville. We're actually prepping it for its full debut in New York in January. We took a rental booth to Rapid through you guys. That client couldn't take their booth because of height restrictions. But I got a chance to walk around FabTech while I was there, and the attendance was mind-blowing. How people have come back and are excited to be back. Even if they got to wear a mask all day, they're still excited to be back. So I don't know if it's just maybe our client base as why we're trending a little differently. But the other side of our business being I&D labor as an EAC here in Pittsburgh, that is starting to climb again. And we're actually being requested by our partners now to service cities nearby that we've never serviced in our 37 years around because of the labor shortages. So I don't know. It's different every day.
Right. No, I think to your point, I think that retraction, I think that's kind of what Mel alluded to a little bit, right? In what we saw with September is that similar kind of retraction of in the requests. So Krista, you guys have a little bit similar situation as Derek as with the I&D side of it. So I'd like for you to maybe kind of touch on that piece too, and maybe see if what you're seeing, you know, as far as your clients is whole, you know, where that lands for you in all of this too.
Yeah, I would say that we're fairly similar to what Derek has as far as having a bunch of clients that have all these new people that have no idea what they're doing, and they ask for something and think that they can get it tomorrow, and it doesn't work that way. And so they've been thrown into a situation where they're unexperienced, and it's hard to get them engaged to be able to train them that that's not how this works too. So that's been a struggle as well. But we have had some of our larger clients, they have been going to shows. Some of the larger shows, we just did BCMC, that went well. It's kind of been a mixture of things. A lot of our healthcare clients, the larger shows have not been going on, but the smaller shows have. So that's kind of a turn from what we've used to seeing in the past. From an I&D standpoint, I would say that we're getting a lot of I&Ds here in St. Louis. Our market has really opened up that we hadn't had before. So that's been great for our I&D business here locally. And we've also been getting some of those nearby shows that have been looking for I&D. So that's been helpful overall. Trend wise though, I can't say that anybody's looking for anything really exciting or new. They have no idea what they're looking for. I think they still have, you know, dreams of a $500,000 exhibit and have $10,000. So, you know,
some things just never change, right?
Yeah.
I will say it's been interesting actually being on the show floor. Just as a side note, you know, I went to the install when I say show floor, I think everybody accepts the fact that I'm going to the install floor. You guys should all know me by now, but I'm on the install floor, not the actual like looky-loo at the show. So I was on the install floor at Natural Products Expo East. Tim and I kind of exchanged info about that. That was very condensed, very small, but lots of, I mean, that's always an interesting show, right? And Tim can talk to us about that a little bit more just because he has so much more experience in that arena or for that particular show as far as, but there were, the graphics always are inviting. They seem to be, backlit seems to be no problem for those folks. And surprisingly, there were a number of very custom exhibits that were on the show floor, which was exciting and great to see, but not, well, there was one in particular that actually, and I've only ever seen this one time before, but I don't know if they forgot their horizontals or if they just intended on building this 20 by 40 island exhibit with aluminum verticals and wood 2x4 horizontals. I don't know if that was the intention, but they were getting a lot of attention from show management about whether that thing was going to ultimately stand up. And so that was kind of an interesting one to watch go up. But it's I'm seeing a lot of, and I hate to say it, but I see a lot of display to go boxes, which I find completely interesting because that speaks to what Derek, you and Krista were saying about the click and buy now on Amazon, the Prime 2-day. So I wonder about that mentality for sure. Also, there's, I've experienced it vicariously through others who might remain nameless, but they had clients with products that were being shipped from another exhibit manufacturer that was having supply chain challenges because they were all coming out of China, right? And so they instead of getting one box with everything combined, there were 7 or 8 boxes that got delivered outside of the freight, the regular trade show freight. And you know, managing that can be a nightmare on the install floor. So I've seen that several times. But I guess I'm curious, since we were kind of on that topic, Tim, what kind of trends are you seeing within your business? And do you want to talk a little bit about what was going on for you as far as your clients that typically attend like the Natural Products show in particular, or any of them in particular?
Business is picking up. Clients we had at Expo East did not go this year. They decided not to. They were, like Bob's Red Mill, they would go to Fancy Foods and Expo East. They're only going to do one show next year, and then after 2022, what they'll decide what to do beyond that. We're doing a new island for a client that I had 15 years ago in Eugene. We're doing that for Expo West. So the design's complete. We're just down to the details, and we'll pull the trigger on that. We're probably going to really let them to get that going. Civic Rental did a couple of small things. The same client in Eugene. We're also doing a store up in Bridgeport, and we're going to install a curved wall, a custom curved wall, and a custom counter for them here next week.
Oh, cool.
And then I just heard from, it's like I said, I'm just a one-man band, so I don't do a lot of business, but I got an email from a potential client this morning that they want to look at some things. So yeah, business is picking up a little bit. I'm glad to see it. I'm not driving for Uber Eats or Amazon quite as much. So,
Good to hear it.
Yeah.
Good to hear it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's interesting too, that you would have a client from an old client come back, circle back around with you. I think I hear about that. And so I think that that's an interesting trend too, is that people are circling back to kind of their tried and true, right?
Yeah, well, this is an interesting story because when I was with Interpretive Exhibits, I was with them from 2002 to 2011. We did a booth for them in like 2006, 2007, a nice, really custom 20 by 20, which they used for 5, 6, 7 years. Then most of their business was online. They do herbs. And so they decided the shows weren't really where it was at. Well, their business has really grown, very successful. They've changed ownerships. Well, the main guy we worked with, bought the other owner out. And they're getting into essential oils and things like that. And they are going to do a booth based on some of the new product lines.
Cool.
So obviously they have money to spend, which is nice. They're doing a store in Bridgeport for, a year or so to see how it goes, to see if they're going to have enough business there. So they're expanding and growing, and they think of us, which is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Adrian, I'm super curious what you guys are seeing over at Court. There's got to be some buzz going on up in there about trends.
Okay. So
Yeah.
where do you want me to start? So the good news is, from a revenue standpoint and the trade show division, for Q3, we hit probably, let's see, how do I explain this? The lowest number in the best year we ever had, if that makes sense. So just say in 2019, our worst quarter was the number we hit in Q3 of this year. So it was very encouraging. It was in the, many millions, which was really, really shocking for us because Q2 was pretty much nothing. I mean, I think we literally did like 400,000 in Q2. But then it all of a sudden just Q3 just, came out of nowhere, which was very, very good. We're drinking from a fire hose beyond comprehension. So what you all are seeing from the Amazon Prime, I need it now. The good and the bad for us is they know we can do it because we have inventory. But the bad is everybody is now waiting because they're so worried that a show is going to cancel. And they're worried that if they place an order, are they going to get the refund? When will they get the refund? And I get it. I mean, you all are our customers and we totally understand. 1,000% we get it. But we literally are getting people ordering furniture 2 days before a show because they know we have inventory. And we're happy to take the orders. We're not complaining, but it is a major scramble fest. The unfortunate part is then we do it and people are like, okay, so it's going to get delivered like right now. And we're like, well, probably not right now, but in the next 24 hours, we'll do our best to get it to show. So, we're still dealing with unions and freight. We obviously have major issues with labor. We cannot get drivers. Our DGMs, our AGMs, our ops managers. I mean, I was a on-site coordinator last week in Chicago for, for 2 full days. And I'm not complaining. I was happy to be there, but I did booth checks for 2 full days in Chicago. We just, it's all hands on deck at this point. Everybody's doing what we can to make sure we're getting the furniture to shows. So, and then we're also seeing a lot of customers who, and not our customers, but our customers and users thinking, again, costs are high. We got to think about where to save money. They go out and they either buy stuff from Wayfair or IKEA thinking they're going to save money. I mean, I have a perfect example. I had a woman, exhibit house, doing a huge event in, I think it was either Pennsylvania or Virginia. I can't remember where now. And they ordered $40,000 worth of inventory from furniture from Wayfair. And Wayfair took their order, told them they were going to deliver it. And 5 days before her event, they canceled her whole order. And she came to us and obviously we have inventory and we came through, and she said, I will never, ever, ever buy outside ever again because she got screwed.
Yeah.
It's scary to think, customers are like, oh, I'll, go get it at IKEA, or I'll, buy it at Target. Well, that is great, but if it breaks or it doesn't show up, or you got to put it together and then you're loading it in. So there's a lot of that. And, we have so much empathy for people who are trying to save money, which we totally get. But then it's a major scramble fest at the end. So yeah, I mean, that's really where we're at. We're doing everything we can to keep up with everything. We are definitely, moving inventory as quickly as we can in cities that are having the most activity. But again, that's freight that we have to get across country. So we are working very hard, and just understand that, if we can't get it there the minute you order it, we will get it there within as fast as we can. So, and we'll offer substitutes if things aren't in stock and things of that nature. So hopefully you are compassionate to everything that our ops teams are going through as they're trying to service shows. So questions for me or Court, or I know Mel probably has one for me. Hit me.
I love the hand sanitizer stands you guys are offering.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
Oh my goodness. We don't self-serve much. No.
Those are like it's like that add-on. Like they place the order and they're like, and a hand sanitizer machine. I'm like, well, of course. I think my funniest quote though is 500 squirts. Like people are always like, how many, whatever. I'm like 500 squirts. Like I say that like probably 50 times a week.
Because they want to know how much use. Oh, that's awesome. Well, I just made a note to self-order furniture from Court. We're exhibitor live. Thank you.
Girl, hurry up.
Mel reminded me a couple weeks ago too. And so, yes, I'm going on record as saying this has to happen today.
I'll remind you if I don't see something in the next couple of days.
I will send you the email for sure. Oh my goodness. Good. That's awesome. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And then the other thing too, sorry to add one more thing. We have started a will call procedure too. Cool. It was kind of poo-pooed before. People, our powers that be were always like, well, what if they never return it? Well, we get that, but exhibit houses and customers that, we've had longstanding relationships with are going to bring our furniture back. It's not like, we don't trust people. So what we've decided to do, which I think is a really great answer to, sorry, we've already delivered that show in Cincinnati 3 days ago, but now you need something in, today or tomorrow. We do kind of have that will call window now. And it's real. I mean, it's the same pricing. We're not doing anything special. We're not, we're not discounting, but if you're willing to send a truck to our warehouse to pick it up, to take it with you to a show because you either missed our truck or you waited till the last minute, or we're just not going to Omaha, Nebraska next week, we are very willing to offer that service. And again, we won't do it every time. I had one last night in New York that a guy literally was like, our customer forgot and they needed bar stools. And within an hour, we placed the order, put it in the system, and he had an Uber driver come with a truck to pick it up and deliver it to the show. Yeah. People are creative.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to share with you that TaskRabbit actually is a good app to have when you need to have, instead of an Uber.
Rabbit?
Yes, TaskRabbit. Instead of an Uber doing the pickup, TaskRabbit is actually like handyman type folks or folks that are looking for
quick work.
Yeah, just quick work. And so they've been vetted a little bit. You can see reviews on them a little bit, but
awesome.
We had a situation in rentals that came up that we needed to get a TV. And so Jim and I actually talked about that being an option. If you can, buy it from, I don't know,
Best Buy.
wherever, yeah, or from court, you get it rented and then do the will call from court, and then this person will go pick it up and bring it to the convention center.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
gonna share that with my team, because
Yeah.
again, like the one last night, they're like, is there any way? And we were like, our guys are all out on deliveries. We have nobody to send. And he was gonna get in a taxi, and then and then he's like, I'm just gonna do like an Uber XL. And we're like, works for us.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. And so a lot of those folks have trucks or, different kind, but yeah, it's been a handy thing. They had something similar when I was in Hong Kong,
Mhm.
and I forget, it's like Blue Van or something like that, but you can book these vans and they will go and just pick up stuff, or you can get a similar thing. You can get a handyman with the van and they will,
Oh my
they will
gosh,
do
that's
that.
awesome.
Yeah. So super cool that we have that here. So thanks for the share.
I'm downloading the app right now while you're talking, so I have it.
Good job. Good
Awesome.
job.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome.
So if anybody else has any other questions for me, or questions about what we're doing, or by all means, either ask, hit me up, send me an email.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, I would say you would let everybody take furniture will call except for the guy in the toque, right, Phil?
If he
It's like
gives me
what-
if he gives me a credit card, I don't care.
If he gives me
Do
a
I look,
credit
do I look
card.
shady?
Slim Shady. No,
No,
I'm
I get my
teasing.
orders in on time, so I don't. It's not an
Oh,
issue.
good job. Good job. Good job. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? What are you seeing?
Actually, I think every project we shipped in the last 4 weeks had court furniture, so that
Nice.
we are seeing a lot of that. I think it's tracking with what Mel said. We did see that heavy activity, then a little bit of a pullback, and then kind of people are back to normal again. I am seeing not so much staffing being replaced. So a lot of our customers are the same clients we had before, but definitely a lot of shaking the rust off. We're having people, forget to order or pay material handling, and we're doing the last minute scramble to get them to contact the show decorator with a credit card. And I think that's happened on like every show for the last 3 weeks. I think last 3 weekends I've been on the phone with the truck, with my client, with Freeman, and just trying to get them squared away.
About material handling being, because they've tried to go more electronic with it. It's just more.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Yeah. So they're like
difficult in general.
basically the electronic ones, they're like forcing you to bypass return to warehouse as an option. So
Yeah.
we have had freight forced a couple of times, but we had paperwork, not because there's staff shortages at the show decorator. We had paperwork handed in correctly, but labeled as not correct by the decorator, and our truck was turned away, and it was returned to warehouse, and that was, so they credit the exhibitor back, but we're still have an attempt and 8 hours of waiting time for nothing. But I mean, that kind of stuff has been an issue. But yeah, we're seeing larger exhibit design requests for early next year. A lot of rentals. There's kind of across the board, some smaller stuff, but a lot of 10 by 20s, and a lot of what we're talking about for Q1 is island exhibits, 20 by 30s. So we're pretty excited about that. And then as far as trends, I did happen to walk a couple of shows. I was at HR Tech in Las Vegas, which is kind of a smallish mid-sized show, but one trend I did notice, I was kind of walking around looking for that sort of stuff, and I just noticed a lot of things that we've been doing for a long time, but are being done much better. So backlighting, LED accent lighting, I think it's just done better now. So that's certainly been, but everybody kind of has it. So if you don't now have some sort of lighting effect, you're almost standing out by not having that. One thing that really stuck out with me though was counter design. There's a lot of cool counters out there now where they're layering materials, and they're very dimensional, and they're doing things with the accent lightings and graphic accents, but just some really cool counters being done. And then just beyond that, everything's fabric graphics, but a lot of primary colors with white. I happened to notice that ours was orange and white, the one that we had out there, but walking around, you'd see like sky blue and white or lavender and white. So clean, clean looks, and then being accented by the lights.
Cool.
That's it.
Those are great observations.
Yeah, Phil, one of the things that I would say, I want to kind of feed off you a little bit, it has to do with counters, and what we're seeing on our shop floor is there seems to be less hesitation to order custom counters, fully built custom counters that just get pulled out of the crate. Obviously, we still do modular, but I would say we do as many fully built custom counters as we do modular and or portable counters at this point. So yeah, I would echo what you said.
Cool. Oh, one other note, and I don't know if Jim saw my email from earlier, but just one thing that I saw, and I've seen it a couple of times. We had a customer pull out of a show because they can't get inventory in time for their show. So they sell statues and things that are being shipped over. And so they had a show they were trying to do in November, and they actually pulled out because they don't have the inventory to do the show. So just another little side note.
Interesting. Yeah, they're having a hard time getting product for themselves to even show on their in their exhibit. That's interesting. Interesting. I've got some rentals pictures that I'd love to share with you guys. Are you down? Cool. Jim, I'm gonna share my screen, and then now remember, I'm having blonde moments today, so bear with me for just a sec. So
if I go into a coffee and attack, James can join in and chime in for me.
all right, let's see. All right. Can you guys see it?
Yep.
All right. Groovy.
So we've seen a lot of, speaking of trends, we've seen just a lot across the board, a lot of islands, a lot of pretty decent sized jobs, but also a lot of smaller inlines, 10 by 10s, 10 by 20s. I don't know if this is really any big change from pre-pandemic. It seems like we go through these times where we get a lot of islands, get a lot of inlines, but right now it is a big mix.
Well, and this kind of speaks to what Phil was just talking about. I didn't even realize this on our first two images, but the primary colors and on the white backgrounds, the clean lines. So yeah, kind of interesting there.
That one before was Derek's project.
This one. Yep.
Yeah.
And Court bailed me out on that furniture too.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a situation where got a quote, submitted an order, in the mix of everything picking up. The payment link was never sent. I'm standing on show floor like, and
Right.
yeah, they went all through McCormick Place and found us enough furniture on the floor to make it work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Cool. This one was the one at FabTech?
that was at Rapid.
At Rapid.
With the height restriction, right?
With the height restriction, yeah.
Ah, gotcha. All
Yeah,
right.
we did a custom booth for that client in 19, partially through Classic, partially through our own shop. But it's 16 foot high and they had a 12-foot height restriction.
Yeah. This was actually, it was hard to get photos of this in our shop, of the entire booth, but it was what, James, a 30?
Oh, I believe it was a 30 by 50 or was it 30 by 60?
Yeah, 30 by 50, I think.
Yeah.
And it was actually a pretty large structure, 16-foot towers, storage closets, some backlighting, a lot of monitors. I wish we could have gotten back and taken a better shot of it, but yeah, the canopies with scrim fabric and so
Yeah,
forth.
that's something that I'm kind of seeing a lot lately, is a lot of designs that have those ceilings, whether it be with scrim or just other fabric, or we have one that you probably have photos coming up for a company called Slate that had foliage in it. You'll see that coming up.
Is that
Is it-
ceiling rigged?
What's that?
Is that ceiling rigged, that canopy?
On this
It's-
particular design, it is. I had tension cable coming off the tower in 2 locations because there's no, it attaches to the tower in the center, but not in the front. So I needed some support in the front or else it would have sagged pretty badly.
But
But
not rigged at the show though.
not rigged from the ceiling. It's just rigged off the tower. If you look,
Yeah.
you should be able to see those 2 cables coming off the tower. So yeah, it was all, no separate rigging crew that needed to be hired or anything.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I found like these were interesting. These were in the mix.
Okay, so that was what we did back in,
I'm gonna need that rental for next weekend.
I know, right?
You're going in that ride.
And you know what? I'll do it as a will call. I'll pick it up.
And I'll bring it back. Maybe.
This was my first car. I bought it when I was 16, and it's the actual car that I had all these years and finally got it completely restored. So
Nice.
I was
Adrian
going
and I
to.
have to run some furniture cross country.
Yes,
So,
from Chicago to San Diego.
yeah, that sounds about
there we
right.
go. So
By
anyway,
the way,
that was, finally got it back this summer. So
Gorgeous.
That's awesome. 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 I was like, what in the world? So,
I knew
yeah.
that would throw you off, Jen.
Oh, that was awesome. That was the best thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to leave those in now.
Thought if we're doing show and tell, I'd throw that in.
Well, exactly. Exactly. And this was all gravity, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say we're doing a lot of gravity. We're doing a ton of gravity and a ton of light boxes. Yeah.
Well,
As Phil
and
was-
we've always
Like-
done a lot of both of those, but now people are doing a lot of designs that integrate the 2 together. Like
Yeah.
we're doing towers that are maybe, gravity on 3 sides, storage closets that are 16-foot towers that are gravity on 3 sides with a light box on the 4th side, that sort of thing.
That's a
Right.
standard package too, isn't it?
That is a
Mhm.
standard kit on our website. We've actually done the same one with the 16-foot portion wall as a light box.
Yeah.
This particular one is all gravity though. That's a curved gravity wall on that one.
Sweet court furniture too there.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right. I saw this in the background on one of the other ones. This
James, what size was this, James? It was.
It was
Was it
12
14?
feet high by I think 30 feet wide, just under 30 feet wide, but it was 12 feet high. And
So we could have done the graphic as one piece, but it would have been more expensive and taken longer. So we, the distributor and the client decided to do 2 pieces. Since they had the furniture there in front of it, it wasn't as obvious. The seam wasn't as obvious as it would have been in some settings, but this had dimensional graphics, dimensional letters and logo from our shop. So they purchased that portion of it. And then the light box was a rental.
yeah, so we had a lot of internal structure built into this one because we needed all of it to mount all the dimensional letters. But
cool. It looks like it's in some what sort of facility is it in? Because the low ceilings and the way do you know what facility it was in?
Set up, Jim?
That was set up at FabTech, I believe,
Oh, really?
down in the basement or something. Yeah, it was at FabTech.
Cool. Awesome. So
And so
more
with
of that white and primary color.
And a light box with gravity. That was
Mhm.
the light
This is
box.
another example of integrating the 2 together, and they actually did their own little light box panels on the gravity. So we did some internal supports there to hang
Cool.
those on.
This was just a repeat design. The lighting's terrible in this photo. They couldn't get a very good picture down there, but it looked a lot better in person. The white was real white and it looked
Mhm.
sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And then
This one
is
was your fun one, right? This was
yeah, this is the
not that they're
slate.
not all fun, but this one was fun.
This had how many light boxes, James? Was it 9 or?
9 light boxes, yeah. Had 9 light boxes, a couple kiosks, and then it had 4 ceilings, and it had all the the plant work built into the ceilings. So yeah, it was.
Isn't that
Project.
bigger one a 10 by 14 or?
Yeah, that one's 10 foot wide by 14 foot high. The one that's right here.
Double-sided.
Yeah,
And that was up in the Pacific Northwest?
it was up in
Yeah,
Seattle.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in the
Convention.
lobby of the Seattle Convention Center.
Cool.
So that's the ceiling that James was referring to with the artificial plants.
Mhm.
So those were wood fabricated panels that recessed down into the ceiling. They actually put all the ceiling together and then lifted it up with a high lift as one piece and set it up there and into place.
Did it
But
need rigging?
it does not have any rigging. No.
So
But
just-
We did the
but they did a great
foliage
job.
was, yeah, and that foliage that Jim was talking about, the panels, you know, it was stapled onto them, and then we just did a grid work in the ceiling where they went into place kind of like you would see like in an office
Recessed.
style, yeah, recessed. So we just did that, and then they took some extra to hide the extrusion horizontals that were going across. But yeah, it turned out really nice.
The little tables are super cool.
Yeah.
Those are court timber tables.
Nice.
Yay!
Yeah, that worked
Cool.
nice with the theme.
That's awesome.
I thought one of the really clever things that the client did on this one is these are two different show halls at the Washington State Convention Center. And that area you see right here is actually a bridge over Pike Street. And so the show is on the left and the show on the right, but the client reserved that space between the two show halls as people went back and forth. I thought that was a very clever idea in order to get the maximum exposure for their brand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It couldn't have really been a better setting for this style of exhibit. If you go to the last one, Jen, you'll see the overall exhibit.
You
And
know,
it,
I
oh,
don't.
maybe you didn't. Okay, maybe.
No. There
Okay.
wasn't. There was one that didn't come through all the way. It had like a gray bar over it, and so.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it showed the whole thing. So the whole exhibit is really, if you go up to the top or up there, yeah, to that one, that's like half of the exhibit. There's another whole section on the left that's like the one on the right. So it's very large. And then with that structure of the convention center, the whole, that look it just worked out perfectly for this exhibit.
Cool.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was, Mel, what did we say? How many individual LED lights did we? 1,360 or something?
Oh, something like that. I forget the exact amount, but it was a number.
A lot of lights, a lot of backlighting. Cool.
I think you guys gave Aluvision a run for their money. I like it.
Woohoo! We like to hear that.
Yeah.
We like to hear that. Robin, while oh wow, today's gone by super fast. All the sharing going on. What are you seeing?
Really a lot, like Derek was saying and like Krista was saying, you know, it's really a crapshoot out there of what you're going to get. And you can work really hard on a project with somebody, have them very, very involved. And then suddenly it's just like, you know, poof, we bought a hop up. Oh, okay. You know, what? You know, but I wanted to share a little lesson I learned. We had a show in Houston. It's finishing up at 5 o'clock tonight. It's called Valve World. And do yourself a favor and ask your vendor how they're shipping product, because like, just because they send you a tracking number, they don't send that till after they ship. But my vendor who was doing the hanging sign shipped it on a Southwest flight. And I was thinking to myself, do you not watch the news? So guess what I was doing last night? We missed the first day of the show, and I had called in everybody I knew in Salt Lake trying to get them to jump on a flight for, you know, hey, come to Houston for the day, bring my sign. But we ended up missing the show. So it was a lesson learned. And, you know, you think you've learned them all, but, you know, thank you, God, for more lessons. I just wanted to mention that. But anyway, you know, there's still, I feel like things are good. I think back to what they were, you know, prior, and I just don't see it getting back there quite yet. But I was really enlightened to see that they're opening the borders more, and that's really going to make some difference. And this show that I went to was very, very well attended, and it's been, the clients are very happy down there. I had gone to a show a couple of weeks ago in Galveston, and it's usually a pretty good sized show. I mean, it's not huge, but it's like 500 exhibitors. You guys, it's the smallest trade show I've ever been to in my life. There were 20 exhibitors, 20.
Wow.
I was like, holy smokes. You know what? They really they pulled the stakes out and did some beautiful stuff. And, I guess they got all the attention. Galveston's a great place to go if you want to get away for the day and go to a show. But it was shocking. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they even had this show. But the clients were still happy. They had good traffic. So I think it was just the location that helped them.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was just going to say I learned is apparently the city of Houston, because the show is in downtown Houston that I went to last night. Well, I was there all day from 5:30 till 7:30. And I mean 5:30 a.m. They're like really ripping you off on the parking. Holy smokes. I mean, it's $25 to park an hour. It's like, are you crazy? I almost had a heart attack. So just saying that. I was like, oh my God, I know we didn't have events for a while, but give me a break here. You're never going to get people booking shows if you're doing that to them,
Yeah.
But anyway, it was really good to hear all of you guys' stories. I wish I had something exciting to talk about, but just plugging away, trying to find biz.
Cool.
The usual.
Cool. No, that's great. I think the tip about supply chain is important, because I think we've all kind of touched on it in different little ways about how that can be, critical to being able to come together, bring everything together. And when you've got, vendors folks trying to suppliers trying to get things from everywhere, they're getting creative, right, with how they ship things. But I think what's the lesson in that, or the message in that mess is, let's kind of over communicate on those little things, right? So that everybody's aware that it's on a Southwest flight that's, maybe going to get canceled, or, something along those lines. But so we haven't heard, we got a minute left. Well, unless we want to go over just a titch, but Heidi, Richard, we haven't heard from you all. Got anything you want to hit us with?
Hi. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of rentals, and we're doing about 6 months worth of business in 2 months. So it's been a little hectic, but we'll take it.
Yeah. Cool. Heidi.
A lot of people asking for miracles. I got a show this weekend. Can you get me a banner stand by tomorrow? No. So there's a lot of being honest and just saying no. I mean, I'm not going to try to do something and not be able to come through on it. So, and, as a company, we are being honest with our state of trying to ship things. We post a general notice and just letting people know, if you don't give it to me early, it's not going to get there on time. So, it's not a matter of your typical, deferred shipping options anymore. There's no such thing. If you have an expedited shipping option, it might get there in a deferred time period. So it's just crazy out there right now. I mean, it's just insane. Between drivers and dock shortages, and I can't tell you how many times we've had decorators at shows loading our trucks up, and we're getting long freight all the time. I mean, just all the time. So it's just crazy. So just they're dock short, docker workers are short everywhere. So I think the unions are hiring who they can, and it's affecting what's getting loaded on trucks. So you think we'll send you the notice, your freight's on its way, it gets there, and it's somebody's completely wrong freight that belongs halfway across the country. So there's problems everywhere in the supply chain.
Yeah. True story. True story. Well, I really appreciate you all coming together as always to share your insights. Hopefully we'll get more of the Wednesday crowd joining over with us because it'll be a little bit of a shift, but you know, we'll see how schedules are rolling in November. And I haven't put this on as a weekly count or as a monthly calendar yet, but you know, exhibitor will have just happened and Classic's going to be there. So if y'all aren't able to make it and we want to do a quick recap, we can certainly do that in November for our time together here on Classic Conversations. So thank you.
If you're not going to be an exhibitor live, just a reminder, you'll get some notification here in the next week. We are going to do a live feed, or Kevin is going to do a live feed on Tuesday of that day. So you can kind of experience it vicariously.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you again, everyone. It's so good to see your faces until we see them in person.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Thanks. All right.
You